Okay, we are now on worksheet number 2. So make sure you have worksheet number 2 up. And in this exercise, what we're going to do is we are going to calculate our variable income statement for 3 products A, B, and C. And then for each product, we are going to do the calculations to convert variable net income to absorption net income. And then we're going to go ahead and calculate the absorption net income kind of the old way, the way we did it in the previous videos, just to make sure that we have the right answer, to check our work. All right, so to start off with, we are going to calculate our variable cost per unit. And this is product cost and our absorption product cost per unit. So 15 for variable for direct materials, 30 for direct labor, 17 for for variable overhead, and 0 for fixed overhead, because we do not include fixed overhead and product costs for variable. Okay, let's get that out of the way. All right, for absorption, it's going to be exactly the same. 15 for direct materials, 30 for direct labor, 17 for variable overhead, but we are going to include fixed overhead. And the fixed overhead is going to be the 1.2 million divided by the number of units we produced, which is 150,000. Okay, so it's going to be 8. And then we're going to add that up. So our product cost per unit is going to be $70 under absorption. All right, so let's go do our variable costing. Our variable costing, we sold 130,000. So 130, actually, I'm going to go ahead and link that. We sold 130, and we're going to multiply that by our price per unit, which is $100. So we have $13 million in sales. Our direct materials is going to be the number of units sold, 130,000, times our direct materials cost per unit of 15. Direct labor will be the units sold, 130, times the direct labor cost per unit of 30. So that's going to give us 3.9 million. Our variable overhead is going to be the 130 units we sold times variable cost per unit of 17, for a total of 2,210,000. Our variable S&A, which again is not a product cost, but we do include it in the variable cost section of the variable income statement, is units sold 130,000 times our variable cost per unit, variable S&A per unit, or sales and administrative, of $3, for a total of 390,000. Okay, so we're going to add up our variable costs to get total variable costs of 8,450,000. Then we are going to calculate our contribution margin of 4,550,000. Then we're going to put in our overhead, our fixed overhead of 1.2 million, and our fixed S&A of 400,000. Subtract both of those from our contribution margin to get net income of 2,950,000. Since we're here, we'll go ahead and calculate our ending inventory, which is 30,000 units, times variable cost per unit. Okay. Then that gives us a net income of 2,950,000. All right. So if we're going to convert our variable net income to absorption net income, we're going to start with our variable costing net income, which was 2,950,000. We're going to add back our fixed overhead that's in ending inventory. So let's go up here. So in ending inventory, we have 30,000 units, and we're going to multiply it by the fixed overhead that's in ending inventory under absorption, which is going to be this $8 per unit. Then we're going to subtract from that the number of units in beginning inventory times that fixed overhead that would be sitting in absorption. All right, so let's look. We produced 150,000 units. We sold 130, and there's 30,000 left. That means that in beginning inventory, there must have been 10,000 units. So before I go here, let's see how we figured that out. Okay, so beginning inventory plus units produced plus beginning inventory times units produced is going to equal units sold plus ending inventory. So remember from the EUP, this sounds really similar, right? So our units sold plus our ending inventory is 130,000 or 160,000. So our 160,000 minus our units produced of 150,000 gives us our beginning inventory of 10,000. So 10,000 beginning inventory times $8 is how much fixed overhead is in that beginning inventory under absorption costing. And so I'm going to add my variable net income plus my fixed overhead in ending inventory under absorption minus fixed overhead in beginning inventory under absorption. And that tells me that I should expect to have an absorption net income of $3,110,000. All right. Let's test that, put that to the test. Now remember, under variable and absorption, everything's going to be the same except for fixed overhead. So I'm going to just copy over from my variable so I don't have to redo my calculations. If you want to redo them, that's totally fine. Variable overhead. Okay. Fixed overhead is going to be the number of units we sold, 130,000, times fixed overhead per unit under absorption costing, which is 8, of 1,040,000. And I'm going to add up all of my product costs under absorption, and I'm going to get a total of 9.1 million. To get my gross margin, I'm going to take my sales minus my cost of goods sold and get 3.9 million. And then I'm going to subtract my variable S&A, which was 390,000. And I'm going to subtract my fixed S&A, which is 400,000 a year. And when I take my gross margin of 3.9 million and I subtract my variable S&A of 390 and I subtract my fixed S&A of 400,000, I get absorption net income of 110,000, which is exactly what I calculated when I did the quick conversion. Really quick, I'm just going to do my ending inventory because it's on this worksheet, although that's not as critical for what we're doing here. And I've got 210,000 sitting in net income or in ending inventory under absorption. Okay, so that's how we do it. We take our variable, we calculate our variable net income. We add the fixed overhead that is sitting in ending inventory under absorption. We subtract the fixed overhead that was in beginning inventory under absorption, and that gives us our absorption net income. All right, if you feel like you've got a handle on this, go ahead and try products B and C on your own and then come back and check your answers. If you want to go through another couple examples with me, I will in the next videos go through product B and then product C.